Gallagher, the Mayor of the City of Bettendorf, Iowa. Today is Friday, May 2nd, 2025. Welcome to my office here at City Hall for our Mayor's Message. And today we welcome Jason Shack. Jason, thanks for joining the Mayor's Message.
Thank you. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, Jason is our Director of Finance. And Jason, this week we had some listening sessions, and the folks in Bettendorf also got a letter in the mail talking about a referendum that we anticipate being on the ballot in November of 2025 to build a new police station. So today let's talk a little bit about the police station and the numbers involved, because we've had a lot of questions. By the way, you can go to our website and see the frequently asked questions and the answers there too. So if you want to check it out, take a look at the link on your screen. Jason, when's the last time we had a new police station?
Well, the building that the police station sits in today, where we share space with City Hall and the fire department, was built in 1959.
Okay.
It was renovated in the year 2000, so about 25 years ago. But not much was added for police. That was more of a City Hall renovation at that time. So
yeah,
we're working in limited spaces down here.
And we've added police officers over that time, obviously. Six relatively new officers.
That's right.
And the size of the police department, as you compare it with, say, Moline or Rock Island, is really small.
Really small. I think we're about half the size of our comparable cities.
Yeah, so the folks obviously need some room and some increase to what has been really an antiquated space.
Antiquated for a lot of reasons. The space needs is one, secured access for officers and evidence and things like that, security for vehicles. Our vehicles are parked outside in the elements. That's hard on the vehicles. It can be hard on the officers too in January. And
the environment. I mean, you know, there's a lot of good things about an opportunity to change. Why did we select the location that we selected?
So the land that is proposed is just north of the post office on Devil's Glen Road, right before you get to Crow Creek Park. It's the geographical center of town, so response time is just perfect from that space. It's land that the city already owns.
Save a little money.
We don't have to go buy land to build a building there. So this was really just the perfect opportunity. We did look at other options. We looked at further renovations to this building. We looked at renovating an existing building that we do not own today, and actually building new on our own land is the most cost-effective option.
Right, so we're trying to save taxpayer money and provide the type of service that everybody here in Bettendorf expects with this central location. So good thoughts there. We did have some frequently asked questions at those listening sessions this week, or informational meetings. One is about a jail. Folks want to know, will there be a jail at the police station?
We don't jail any criminals in Bettendorf. We haven't had holding cells for about 35 years. All that is done at the county, so anytime that we make an arrest, those folks are transported to the county jail.
Talk to me about why we need a referendum for the police station. Why aren't we just saving money and going and doing it ourselves?
That's a great question, and one that we got a lot on Monday and Wednesday nights. The referendum process is really the only option that cities have to finance a building like this. We can issue debt for things like streets and sewers with just a resolution of the city council. But to build a police station or a fire station or a library, we have to ask the voters to issue that debt. A lot of folks have asked, well, don't you have money set aside, you know, for something like this? And no, cities just don't have the ability in general to levy more taxes than we need in a given year. So we can't kind of form a piggy bank and save up to make these kinds of construction projects happen. So the referendum process is really the only tool in the toolbox, and we're just trying to get that word out now so people understand when they hit the voting booth in November.
Okay. In fact, we at the City of Bettendorf remain one of the lowest general fund levies in the state of Iowa. We do more with less than almost anybody, so we return money to the taxpayers every chance we get. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's another question that comes up. We've had all this just tremendous growth in Bettendorf. It's been good for all of us as residents of the city, and we've done some great things with that growth, but again, we can't necessarily take that money from that growth and set it aside for a project of this magnitude. We've done As you mentioned, we've hired 6 police officers recently. We've hired 9 firefighters. We've been able to reduce the debt levy rate by about 15 cents over the time, all taking advantage of the growth to the northeast of town and our population growth in general.
And that growth is limited by the state, so if we grew, for instance, at 18% in valuation, we can't capture the taxes that might have been generated by that 18% because of a number of reasons. The 2 largest are the state has the rollback that cuts the ability to collect those taxes, and they've capped our allowable growth in taxes to about between 2 and 3% with this kind of intricate formula.
That's right. And it's made budgeting a little bit more interesting the last few years.
Yeah.
But to your point, as the city grows, we're not capturing all of that. I know folks just got assessment notices in the mail.
That doesn't kick in right now.
We saw,
and it may not raise your taxes at all.
Right. I always say an increased assessment does not necessarily mean an increase in your tax bill. There's a lot of factors that happen before the tax bill is generated. We saw increases for a lot of folks of 10, 11, 12% on assessments this year.
Living through it.
Yeah, we all are.
Yeah.
That assessment is only the first component of the calculation of a tax bill. So the state rollback that you mentioned will wipe away about half of that value. The way the rollback works is it limits statewide growth to 3% in valuation. And then the next piece is the levy rate. Well, the levy rate is now affected by that state legislation you mentioned, where the tax dollars cannot increase by 2 or 3% depending on how we grow. So then the levy rate is actually reduced over time. So as you mentioned, we could grow at 20% in valuation, assessed valuation, but that's going to be different when it becomes taxable valuation, and then different on the tax bill because the levy rate will be reduced.
Yes, lots of things to calculate, and it's very difficult. Speaking of calculations, if I want to know exactly how much I will pay if the referendum passes, where can I go?
We have a pretty cool calculator on the website. If you go to www.bettendorf.org/myaddress, you can type in your address there, leave off things like directionals and streets and avenues, just the name of your street and your house number. And you'll see a calculator for the referendum impact on your home. For the average home in Bettendorf, I think the number is about $322,000 in valuation. That impact is about $100 a year, and it really should not change over the life of the bonds.
20-year
bonds. That's the other question I got a lot this week is, well, my assessment keeps going up. Will this impact keep going up with it? And the answer is no, because the taxes that we levy for this particular project are specific to this project, and we know we need about $100 on that average home for the life of the bond. So,
and if you're about $500,000, it's about 175 or 6.
Yep.
If it's a $150,000 home, it's less than $50
right
per year for 20 years.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Hopefully that's good information for you, and we hope that you'll support the project as we roll out more information, looking for the referendum date on the first Tuesday in November. Have a great weekend.
Hi, I'm Bob Gallagher, your mayor of the city of Bettendorf, Iowa. You have received in the mail a survey about a new police station we believe we need here in the city of Bettendorf. We would love it if you could scan that QR code, answer a couple brief little questions, and tell us what you think. If you're in favor of the station, please let us know. If you have questions that need to be answered, please let us know. We're in an information gathering phase where we want to get you more information, and we'd like to know what you'd like to learn. And if you like the idea because of the reasons set forth in that flyer you received, please go ahead and vote. Let us know. Thanks so much.